Tony, a couple of days of northwest winds with a bit of rain. Don't tell me people are thinking irrigation again.
Oh yes, we had a staff meeting in Hanmer last week, and of course we had Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday were pretty nice northwest days, sort of early 20s. One afternoon, I think it was Wednesday afternoon, there was northwest rain that made it as far as certainly as far as Hanmer, and probably down as far as about Mouse Point, Culverton, somewhere around about there. Anyway, we had a little bet when we left Hanmer that 3 days of northwest, things would have dried out immensely, and that we would see some irrigators going. And me being the cynic in here, and my staff saying, no, nobody will be irrigating. Well, we got just past Mouse Point coming home, and lo and behold, out on the left-hand side, there's 3 centre pivots going. So
you won the bet?
I won the bet, yeah. So I nothing serious, just some coffees.
Only coffees, not
coffees.
Chardonnay.
Not even a nipple, you know. So I'm thinking, wow, that's terrible.
You're going to have to change your rules on that one.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, but I was...
No, but seriously,
I was staggered. I was staggered. I mean, it's not that the YR has been on serious restrictions this year. They have been irrigating. They were irrigating during April, and to see them irrigating the first week of May was astounding. And they were the only ones that we did see, however, although there were a couple of going in the distance. And I didn't go down that far to take any photographs, but I have the photographic evidence that these people were irrigating, and it was really surprising to see that.
There's somebody in the Amiri Basin that's actually very embarrassed right now.
Yeah, they will be shortly when the article gets written. Yeah, there's an article due for one of the rags soon, and it gave me a headline straight away, Rob.
Good idea. Speaking of headlines, big changes for the can, which will become the template for the rest of the country, no doubt.
Yep, I think they'll probably become the template. Variation 1 of the proposed land and water plan was notified on Saturday, last Saturday, the 9th, I think that was. So that means that the only appeals that can be made to Variation 1 now are on points of law. So this is High Court stuff now. So there are only legal issues now that that you are unjustly served, or you didn't see all the information, or whatever it happens to be. So there's a template there now for particularly there's rules and policies about all sorts of activities, not just those that affect agriculture, but probably of concern for irrigated agriculture is that it's going to seriously restrict the development of irrigation in Canterbury from this point forward.
So what is it that's changed?
It's primarily around the nutrient leaching. If you are currently a dryland farmer and you have you wish to convert to irrigation, to overcome the additional leaching of particularly nitrates from your system, by irrigating, it's going to be very hard to get those people under the threshold to allow them to go ahead without having to spend an awful amount of money going through probably consent hearings, and maybe even as far as environment courts, simply because of the nutrient losses. Because there's no question, as soon as you do irrigate, you will increase the drainage through your profile, and therefore you'll increase the increased nutrient losses from your property. So it's going to be very, very difficult for somebody, unless they are part of an irrigation scheme, like Huranui, for example, the scheme in Huranui, or someone like Central Plains, for example, Central Plains Water, that has a global consent with a nutrient allocation that has yet to be divvied up. Actually, how that's going to be divvied up is still to be determined. So unless you're part of one of those schemes and that you get a nutrient allowance as part of your irrigation development, the Joe Bloggs, the Rob Cope Williams, who might want to irrigate his dryland 15 hectares to intensify your grazing of cattle or whatever you want to do, it's going to be extremely difficult to get you over the hump to be able to develop irrigation.
So what if the Rob Cope Williams has already got a property and he buys the neighbour?
If you've already got a property and you irrigate and you want to spread that irrigation water on the next door property as well, that might be possible, but it will require some overseer modelling to show what the before and after effects are and what the net effect is. And if your net effect increases and it goes beyond the threshold, then for example, in the Selwyn Te Waihora zone, between the Waimakere area and the Selwyn rivers, Rakaia rivers, if you exceed 15 kilograms of N per hectare loss, then that's a non-complying activity, or a prohibited activity, I think, from memory. So that's something that you can't do. So you wouldn't be able to develop that area as an irrigated chunk next door, because you would exceed the nutrient losses on that property.
Tony, what about the people that have spent a couple of $100,000 on consultancies already and they haven't got a consent yet?
Yeah, that's of concern to me, because there are a number of, not just our company, but other companies who have got clients in the process, and they will now be considered under the new plan. So they may have begun the process a year to 15 months ago, and the cynic in me says that there has been a delay in getting, for example, a commissioner appointed to hear a application, and the cynic in me says that this has been delayed so that this will then be heard under the new rules, and those processes are going to be almost impossible to get through under the new rules. So a whole swag of money has already been spent, and the internal process at Environment Canterbury has delayed that process, and those people will be left high and dry. So I know of a number of people that are going to be seriously grumpy applicants to develop.
So what's the industry as a whole feeling about this whole thing?
Yeah, when I've talked to other consultants that are doing similar work to what we're doing, looking at the resource consenting process, we are of the same opinion that if you are not going to irrigate within the bounds of one of the schemes, and you are going to be a private developer, it's going to be
the hole in the ground people.
Hole in the ground people. I mean, even if you, for example, put a hole in the ground and you purchase a consent, the rules state now that you have to forgive 50% of that, so you only get 50% of the consent, the annual volume to use on your property. The rest of it goes back into the environment, so to speak. So even if you do that, converting from dryland to irrigated to get you over the nutrient leaching hump is going to be virtually impossible.
Interesting times.
Very interesting times ahead. Quite scary times ahead, I believe.